we don't try to have many rules when we do it. It's like this is this type of genre, this is what, or that type of genre. It was just like, no, this is what the song needs, this is what it is, and that's it. Sometimes it needs some synth basses, sometimes just needs a nice little piano, but that's it, yeah.
Hi KLAT, we are Lemongel.
And this is our Get to Know Us with KLAT.
Took a really long time, but we were always kind of trying to come up with a name, because, you know, it's one of the first things you do as a band, and we felt like we had left it till the very end. And then it came to Duarte once we were discussing it. But it's just something that's just been there from the beginning, so we thought we'd land on that. And it was weird and, you know, outlandish enough to leave a mark.
Definitely tequila. I don't know anything else. Lime juice.
Yeah. And make it balanced, sweet.
Agave.
Yeah.
It's just a margarita, actually.
Every day you're working in hospitality is memorable to a certain extent, if you remember it at the end of the shift. There's a lot of, you know, time that goes by and you're just making the 1000th cocktail of the day. You're just thinking, I'd rather be almost anywhere else. But eventually you just make the leap and you decide to do exactly what you want to do rather than working for other people.
I mean, it's great. We've been working on an EP. Oh, giving too much information for a while now, and you know, it was looking a little bit tricky to finish it off in the time scale that we had, and with Horizons, it just basically simplified everything, massive weight off our shoulder, and obviously, you know, we get to know a lot of people, like-minded people. We already knew some of the people that also were selected, so it's great because now we're just forging deeper relationships essentially. Yeah, it's been great, really.
We come from heavily religious households, right? So we kind of like overlap in that sense. But I'd say I grew up more on the neo soul wave, a lot of Afro beats as well. While Duarte kind of differs, where he brings in a different perspective, in the sense of a lot more knowledge of the electronic side of things, a lot more technical knowledge as well than I do. I kind of approach it from a more ethereal perspective, while Duarte is pretty much the brains. He's the one that gets in there deep and figures things out.
And that's the problem, really, that I'm the brains.
Yes. I don't want to say anything too serious. Thirst, hunger. Just something.
Thirst, yeah.
Baseline, because our music is very in the beginning stages still. So yeah, something superficial.
That's you as well, because you wrote the lyrics, sorry.
Yeah, well, the chase was, it was sort of trying to reflect on the social life of working in nighttime, especially in Cardiff, I guess, because it's a very small community. And the first thing that you realize when you're working in hospitality in Cardiff is that when you're not working, and you want to see friends, you end up just going to bars and drinking in front of the bar, speaking to your friends. And it can become a vicious cycle where you're just finishing shift, not knowing what to do, going back out, and that keeps going, and you essentially build a habit out of it. Probably not the best habit to have.
Well, especially more recently with the new stuff we're writing, we were very lucky to meet a few of the boys that play with us. They're all, students at the Royal Welsh College, so they're incredible musicians. They're quite young, so they have a lot of energy, and they're very keen to, play a lot of gigs, write music with us. So that's definitely been a great influence, because I think that's what we were lacking, especially when we did the last EP. I wasn't even in Cardiff at the time, so it was hard to grasp what the vibe was, I guess, in Cardiff. But now we just kind of have our foot through the door, so it's it's great, because it just opens doors to a lot of collabs and stuff like that. Savory.
Yeah, not for the faint of heart.
I mean, if we're doing a song with Nile Rodgers, it has to be disco. It's like there's no other way around it. Obviously, we're big fans of Daft Punk as well, and you can see kind of how much Nile Rodgers influenced Daft Punk. And Daft Punk, they're quite out there in the stuff that they do, so you can't avoid it really. It's just get those shiny guitars on it. It's great.
We took different approaches depending on what kind of song we're looking at. So in the beginning, in the 4-song EP that we released a while ago now, we kind of took a slightly different approach than we do now. And what we do now is a lot more simplified, a lot more straightforward, where we come up with a song. Duarte especially has this theory that essentially if a song sounds good on the guitar, it will sound good in its final phase, as the final product. So we approach it pretty much like that. We attempt to get it to sound good on the guitar first and foremost, and once that's done, then we go on to actually produce the song, which Duarte of course heads, and finalize any little details that are necessary.
Yeah, I think as well it really depends on the song, and we don't try to have many rules when we do it. It's like this is this type of genre, this is what, or that type of genre. It was just like, no, this is what the song needs, this is what it is, and that's it. Sometimes it needs some synth basses, sometimes just needs a nice little piano, but that's it. Yeah.
Progression in the right direction is pretty much where we're going. We're attempting to make it, go from the songs to a lot more visuals, bring a lot more effort into new projects as well, trying to get stuff out faster without overcomplicating things. So it's going to be a year that essentially we're going to get hopefully another EP out, as well as the EP that's already coming out very soon. There's just a lot of action and less talk.
My mind just instantly goes into Aussie football. It just looks so much fun, but also, I don't want to be on the pitch.
Yeah, some sort of strange kind of really niche sport that almost no one watches. Definitely. Yeah, a lot of communication. Basically, just let's say if Duarte had an idea for a song, I will bring to it what I usually bring, which is more the feeling and the vibe and how I feel about it creatively, and vice versa. If I have an idea for a song, I'm approaching it from that specific spot. So Duarte will come at it with a technical brain and kind of put almost like a realistic stamp on it, like what is possible within the idea.
And I think it's being quite open to each other's differences, which is something that causes a bit of problem in the beginning where like he's a lot better at, you know, if he comes up with a song for an idea, he accepts my ideas a lot more than I used to historically. But now I'm like trying, you know, to get a little bit better at it, and it almost always works better when, like, let's say we sat at the computer doing something and just like, I think you should put something like this. I stop whatever I'm doing and I do it straight away. And, you know, more often than not, it just works because he's bringing his input for something in the moment where my mind might be somewhere else. So I think it's just, you know, learning to embrace each other's differences instead of just, you know, holding on to your original idea or to your ego or whatever.
So we did, in the beginning, when we were still kind of deciding whether or not we were going to do this for real, we did a couple of gigs at the Flora, and one of the themes for the gigs was ABBA x Justin Timberlake. So we did a mashup of ABBA and Justin Timberlake. And it's exactly what you'd expect. It went awfully and amazingly at the same time. It was a good experience, never to be repeated.
I don't think that song has been released yet. I don't know. Probably I really like the other side. Like I resonate with it a lot. I tend to, whenever I'm producing something, I tend to not listen to the lyrics that much, just the general sound, and then sometimes there's a certain sentence just stops me in my tracks, and the other side is one of them that I just can't ignore. The lyrics is just, you know, especially knowing what he was going through at the time, I was just sometimes nearly in tears just by myself. So hopefully we can bring some tears to the ailment as well. Just it's okay. Yeah, we're friendly, it's fine.
The neon green water.
Lemongel. Maybe that's the tears of aliens, Lemongel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.